This tutorial is going to walk you through how to make a line graph using Microsoft Excel. This example will have 2 lines in it, just as your homework line graph will have 2 lines. So your homework line graph will have a line for the temperatures of the water and the temperatures of the soil. So I have decided to use, let's look at Moodle, I have decided to use our graphing notes from September the 21st. The graphing notes was the Mark wanted to study the deer and wolf populations on an Arizona plateau. So just to show you that I have gone ahead and made a data table for this information, so using Excel, so our deer and wolf populations on an Arizona plateau from 1910 to 1935, this is our title. The year 1910, 15, 20, 1925, 1930, and 1935. And then, of course, our main heading over here on the right-hand side is the populations in thousands. So this is his responding variable. This is what he wanted to see as a response as to the year he looked at for either a deer or a wolf population. So this is the data table that I'm going to use. So this is the data that I'm going to use to make a line graph. So we will be graphing the deer and wolf populations on an Arizona plateau. Again, I have Microsoft Office for Mac. You will need to, you will have Microsoft Office for Windows, so your buttons and icons and things like that may be a little different, but the wording should be the same. So I'm just going to open up a blank Excel spreadsheet. And I'm not making a data table, I'm making a graph. So I have 3 sets of values. I have the year values, I have population of deer values, and the population of wolf values. So I'm only going to use columns A, B, and C. Again, I'm not making a data table. I'm just putting in data so that I can make a graph. So in this first column, I'm going to type in the years. We had 1910, 1915, 1920, 1925, 1930, and 1935. All right, in column B, I'm going to title this deer, and my numbers were 15,000. And again, our unit was in thousands, so we don't need to write all those zeros because our unit was in thousands, 21 and 16. And then in the third column, this is my wolf populations. And again, this is based on that data table that I just showed you. And we did make a line graph by hand of this particular information in class, so we kind of already have an idea of what the graph will look like. So now we're learning how to do that using Excel. So now I have my values, and now I want to make my line graph. So I am going to first highlight my deer and wolf populations, and I'm going to highlight both columns, and then I'm going to go to tables. I think on the Microsoft machines, charts, on the Microsoft machine you would actually have to go to insert, and I'm just going to pick the very basic line graph. Okay, now if you notice on this line graph, the numbers along the y-axis, of course, are correct, 20, 40, 60,000, 80,000, 100, and all of these values will fall somewhere in here. So notice our deer population in this first thing here is at 15. It's at 15. The problem is that our x-axis is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, we need it to be 1910, 1915, 1920. So in order to do this, we need to insert our values for y. So we're just going to move our mouse into the the graph area, and we're going to right-click on our mouse, and we're going to go to Select Data. Now again, your screen will look different, but it still would be a right-click, Select Data. You're going to pick your category x-axis, and then when you do that, so first I need to click in there. Notice I have a blinking line and it's highlighted. Then I'm going to move over here to my graph and click on the 1910, and then I'm going to pull that information down so that I have selected 1910 all the way to 1935, and I'm going to hit OK. Now if you notice, I actually have 1910, 1915, 1920, 1925, 1930, and 1935. However, now I'm missing a title for this graph. I'm missing the title for the y-axis, which is my responding variable, and I am missing my title for my x-axis, which is going to be the time frame. So what I'm going to do, again, making sure that the graph area has been clicked on, you guys will have a series of selections, and yours look the same under the chart area. So as long as you have the graph highlighted, your little things will come up. You're going to pick the one that looks like this. Notice there's a square here, a square here, and here, and here. Okay, so I'm just going to click that. When I do that, notice what happens. Chart title comes in, axis title comes in. I'm just going to make it a little bigger. And the axis title comes in. The problem is I have these lines in here, and I don't like that. So I'm just going to take this and highlight that. Notice how there's little dots here. I'm going to hit delete. Okay, so now it takes those lines away. Now I need to give titles to all of these things. I'm just going to come in here to chart title, double click in there, then I'm going to take away that, and I'm just going to name it the same thing that was in my data table, the deer and wolf populations on an Arizona plateau from 1910 to 1935. All right, my y-axis, this was population, and again we have to have that unit, and in this unit, in this case, was in the thousands, and that's really small to me. I can barely see it, so I'm gonna highlight it, and I'm gonna make it bigger. So I'm just gonna go to my font and make it bigger. And then I need to come down here to my x-axis, and it was time, and I'm going to go ahead and make that font what I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and change it to 14, and I want that to be time, and it was, we'll just go ahead and say year. This is the year, okay? All right, so now when, and the only thing I did to make it bigger, if you notice, I just, did it like that, so making it smaller, making it bigger, so it's just easier to read. So if we notice our graph, we have a title. We have a title for the y-axis. We have a title for the x-axis. We have a little key over here that lets us know that the blue line is your deer values and a red line that is your wolf values. So now we're ready to copy this to our Microsoft Word document. So we're going to open up Microsoft Word. And some of you, the honors class, you had to do the data table and the graph all in one document. The honors class and the advanced class is going to do their graph on a separate night. So the advanced class will just have a one-page document with their graph in it. So now we're going to go back to the graph. We've opened up the Word document. We need to make sure our graph is highlighted. How we know that is, notice when I click out of the graph, there's no blue box around it. But when I click in the graph, there's a blue box. That lets me know that I'm ready to copy this. So I'm going to go to copy, and I'm going to come over here and paste it. And it may be a little big. I may have to make it smaller. I may have made it too big. Nope. All right, so there it is on my graph. And again, I did need my name in the upper right-hand corner. And so I forgot to do that. So I'm going to come over here, put my name in the upper right-hand corner. And now I'm going to paste my graph, and I apologize. All right, so now my graph is here. Here's my y-axis, my title, my x-axis. And I'm going to move this over just a little bit. And notice how I can make some changes even though it's in the Word file. I can still make changes. I want to make it a little neater, so I'm going to move that. Now I've moved it too far. I've upset it. Alright. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. And there you go. Alright, now we want to save this file. So I'm going to go to File, Save As. Now this was my data table. So now I'm going to save it as first name, last name, and this was homework, sorry, this was the line graph. So homework line graph. Okay, I do want to save it to my flash drive, and so I'm going to save it to my flash drive there. And now again we are ready to upload it to Moodle. So I'm going to go to my Moodle page, and I am going to, and again for the graph 7 advanced, notice you have to go, so see here, homework, data tables and line graphs, but this says September 29th. The advanced class isn't getting the line graph until the 30th. So advanced class students, you will need to go to the 7A homework for Friday and click on it, and then you browse for your line graph. And put your line graph in there. And notice again up here at the top it says students in 7A upload your Microsoft Word document that contains your line graph. Make sure your name is on the Microsoft Word document in the upper right hand corner. And this assignment is going to be available to you starting today, and it's going to close at 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning. That's for the students that need to come in Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. and get some help from me on uploading this. So just in case, but I do want you to try to do it on your own. So here is the uploaded file, and again, if I remember that I needed to make a correction or something like that, I can just simply hit the X button, delete this file, and then I can go to my file on my flash drive and make any changes to it and then upload it again. So I hope this has been a helpful tutorial on making your line graph. Again, your line graph will be on temperature for water and soil, but it will be a 2-line graph. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. And again, if you have any questions, you need to make sure you email me.